I called my cousin Amir on a Tuesday evening. The conversation was quick, practical. Rent was due in a few days and the landlord had already sent the usual reminder. Amir, his sister, and their mother had been living in the apartment for almost a year. When my uncle passed away, things collapsed financially for them, and I stepped in without making it a big family announcement. At least, that was the idea. Just checking, I told him. Is everyone okay for this month? He said yes too quickly, then added something about work being slow but manageable. The same kind of answer I'd heard before. All right, I said. I'll take care of it like usual. He thanked me casually, like someone acknowledging a ride across town. Then he said, "Okay, I'll talk to you later." The line didn't disconnect. At first I thought it was just the usual background noise of someone setting their phone down. A chair scraping, a door closing somewhere in the apartment. Then voices, my aunt, my cousin Samira, and Amir again. I wasn't trying to listen. But once you realize people are talking about you, the brain does something strange, it locks in. He called? Samira asked. Yeah, Amir said, still doing the rent thing. A short laugh. Of course, Amir replied. Then came the sentence I remember word for word. He thinks paying our rent makes him important. More laughter, louder this time. Someone mimicked my voice. Calm, measured, responsible. Just checking if everyone's okay for this month. Another voice said, "Hey, acts like he owns the place." My aunt added something about how I always liked playing the responsible one in the family. The tone wasn't cruel exactly. But it wasn't grateful either. It sounded like people rolling their eyes. For a few seconds I just sat there holding the phone. My instinct was to interrupt, say something. Let them know I was still on the line. But I didn't. I listened. Not because I wanted to hear more, but because suddenly I wanted to understand. They weren't angry with me. That was the strange part. They sounded comfortable. Comfortable making fun of something that, to me, had been a quiet obligation. After a minute the phone finally disconnected. The apartment was silent again. I sat there for a while longer, staring at the blank screen. What surprised me wasn't anger. It was recognition. Small moments from the past year began rearranging themselves in my head. Every time I covered rent without discussion. Every time someone said they'd figure things out soon. Every casual thank you that never lasted longer than a few seconds. I realized something uncomfortable. Part of me had believed helping them meant something deeper than it did. Maybe I thought it made me useful. Maybe I thought usefulness translated into belonging. Once that thought landed, it was hard to ignore. The rest of the week moved normally. Work, groceries, calls from friends. The family group chat continued like usual, memes, photos, random updates. No one mentioned the rent, and I didn't mention the call. Rent day arrived on Friday morning. For the past 10 months, I had transferred the payment automatically. The landlord knew to expect it from me. It had become routine. That morning, I woke up, made coffee, and opened my banking app. Then I closed it again, not dramatically. Just closed it. Around noon the first message appeared in the family chat. Samira, did the landlord text anyone else about rent? A few minutes later. Amir, yeah, he asked if payment was coming today. No one tagged me directly, but the implication hung there. I finished work around 4. When I checked my phone again, the messages had shifted from casual to direct. Amir finally wrote, "Hey, did you already send it?" I stared at the message for a while before replying. I kept it simple. Not this month. I figured everyone preferred handling it themselves now. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then nothing. For almost 20 minutes, the chat stayed completely silent. Eventually Samira responded. Okay. No anger, no argument, just 2 words. Later that evening Amir called me. His tone was different this time, careful, like someone stepping onto unfamiliar ground. Hey, he said. Hey. A pause stretched between us. So about the rent. Yeah, he cleared his throat. We just assumed you were still helping. I know. Another pause. I didn't mention the phone call. I didn't repeat what I'd heard. There was no point. The shift had already happened. "Well, figure something out," he said. "I'm sure you will." The conversation ended quickly after that. No apology came, but something had changed in the air between us. A kind of awareness that hadn't existed before. The next week I heard through my aunt that they were looking for a smaller place. It wasn't said with resentment. Just a quiet update. When I thought about the whole situation later, the feeling that stayed with me wasn't victory. It was relief. For months I'd been playing a role I thought mattered. Turns out it only mattered as long as I kept performing it. Now the role was gone. And strangely, so was the weight that came with it. I still talk to them. Family gatherings still happen. But something subtle sits between us now, a boundary neither side explains out loud. They no longer expect the transfer, and I no longer expect gratitude. It's quieter this way, not warmer, but honest.